Good people on the quest for good content. What's good? Welcome to another installment of Song of the Week. I'm one of your co-hosts, Bill Farrow, here with Jordan Bell, master of the channel. I know he hates it when I say that, but at this point it is just a habit. Jordan, before we introduce our guest today, what's the latest? How you been? Feels like I haven't seen you in a little bit, but get me up to speed in 15 seconds. What's good?
Everything's good, man. I've been listening to a lot of good music lately. My mom, who's a big fan of the podcast, recently sent me like a 2-page document about what type of music she likes and why she likes it. And then she sent me like 10 or 15 songs to go with this document. So I've been crushing all of that, which has taken me down some rabbit holes that I'm not used to going down musically. So that's been cool. And then today we've got a super special episode of Song of the Week that I'm really excited for. So I'll let you introduce our guest, but I'm excited about today.
Yeah, for all those out there, this one hits near and dear to our other collaborators' heart, David. He couldn't be with us today. I know he's pretty upset about that. But want to introduce one half of the duo, J Davey, Jack Davey. Jack,
hello.
Thanks so much
Hi.
for joining us. How are you today?
I'm great. Thank you for having me. That was a great introduction. I want to hear what's on that list, Jordan.
The list that my mother sent me?
Yeah, I'm curious to know what she had on there.
So there was some Aretha Franklin. There was
Can't go wrong with that.
Yeah, some really good Aretha Franklin. There was some Anthony Hamilton.
Okay, Mom.
Yeah, she loves this blues artist named Keb Mo.
Yeah.
I don't know if okay, so she loves Keb Mo. So there's a couple Keb Mo tracks on there.
That's tight.
There's a woman. Her first name is Rianne. I want to say it's Rianne Giddens is her full name.
Yeah. Okay.
Rihanna Giddens, Rhiannon Giddens, something like that. It's like kind of like folky music. So there's been a lot of that, and then like I said, she has like 8 bullet points of like what different music that she like or why she likes music. And one of the things that I found interesting on this list was she talked about like visuals was like the 7th or 8th out of like 12 bullet points. And she was saying how like now when we think of music, like the newer generation thinks of music, like they're thinking of the music videos, the visualizers, the content that comes with the music. And she was like, I didn't know what Stevie Wonder looked like until we got the album cover.
Wow.
You know what I mean? Right? Like, she was like, Stevie had to be talented before anything else. Like, there was no Instagram, so we could know if Stevie was good looking. There was no content behind Stevie. Like, Stevie was something that came on the radio, and then once you heard it, you heard it. So it was interesting that was one of the more interesting points of this email that my mother sent me the other day.
I love that. Yeah, that's an interesting thought too, because we didn't have access to our faves like we do now, and that's one thing that is enhanced the art, but also messed it up a little bit. I think.
It's good and bad. There's you feel like you know these people in ways that probably in some ways are a little inappropriate, right? Like you feel like you have access to their lives in ways
24/7.
24/7, and you almost feel like if they don't share that much of their life with you, there's something wrong with it. We mentioned, we did a episode a couple weeks ago where we talked about artists who like have chosen to cover their face for at least a portion of their career. Like MF Doom. Who else did we mention, Bill? MF Doom, her. Who else did we mention?
Sia was one when she was stepping out and no longer not just writing for people, but deciding to sing her own music. And really, just making it about the art.
Yeah, Gaga was one of them.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, which actually raises a question I had for you, Jack, because we're talking about Jordan's mom's kind of list of influences and loves. Who were some of those influences for you? Because I know from based on what the information I was able to ascertain, you've been in the industry for a number of years. You've had the chance to tour with legends like Prince. You've really made your mark in helping carve out a sound, especially in those early blog era days. Yep. So I'd love to know, as you form this duo, who were some of the influences that I guess maybe even persuaded you or inspired you to become creative, even if it wasn't in music at first? And then how did that evolve?
Yeah. I mean, I grew up just, as a kid listening to a lot of jazz. And a lot of Miles Davis, a lot of his fusion stuff. And then just like Return to Forever and Chick Corea. But then on the flip side, my parents were also playing, a lot of the hip hop of the time and a lot of the R&B. So Prince, I would say, would be a big one that I heard in my home that Delo and I actually connected on as we started making our own music. I think Prince was probably the foundation. And not just, it was Prince, but it was also the sound, like the new wave sound. So it was a lot of The Police, and Talking Heads was another big one. But then also, we were hip hop and R&B kids, and soul music and was big too. So, a lot of Erykah Badu, a lot of, The Roots. And I think the thing about J Davey that has been interesting and was very interesting at the time was it had all of these different types of references. So, you could hear a little bit of everything in it.
Thank you so much for detailing a lot of that. I mean, obviously it sounds like, just a deep passion and love for music, obviously. So you just want to explore what you can and obviously pull those influences in. Jordan, are you going to ask the Prince or Mike question, or you want me to? I feel like you're going to. I feel like you're going to jump into it.
I'm itching for it. So I'm not going to ask the typical. So I've been asking a lot of our guests the question, Michael or Prince, not as like a way to be divisive. Like, I'm just curious. What I kind of tell Bill, at least my theory is, a lot of black households were either one or the other. But with you being someone that worked with Prince, I won't put you in that position. But I am curious. Like, I was gonna wait until closer to the end, but you gotta tell me a little something about Prince. Like, I watched the podcast you did called "Smoking in Church."
Yeah.
Which was hilarious. That was an awesome podcast.
That was fun. That
was cool. And you talked about like just being invited over to his house just to kick it, and he like wouldn't even come out sometimes. Like, I would love to hear more about Prince.
I mean, I was just talking about this recently. He was just, he was a good person, so you never felt that there was anything disingenuous about him. And in this industry, that's hard to find. But he was, a bit of an enigma, and that wasn't just, as an artist, that was who he was as a person. And he was very intentional about his space and who he allowed in it. And so it was like an honor, it was definitely an honor to even, get the access to that. I mean, he was everything that you would think that he would be. He was larger than life. And for me, having grown up listening to his music, watching his videos, seeing Purple Rain at a very young age, too young. I was telling my mother recently, I don't know if I should have seen that movie at the age that I did. But yeah, just growing up, seeing that, and then meeting him, and it's like, oh, you're everything that that I thought you would be. You're larger than life. And I don't know if we have celebrities like that anymore. So it was a great experience. But that's a hard question because as much as I love Prince, Michael Jackson is just...
he's Mike.
It's one of one. There's, when people are like, so-and-so is the new Michael Jackson, there's nothing that... I mean, when you think about the trajectory of his life and his career, I mean, he was a little kid singing like that about things that, how did did he experience that love to know how to sing it in those songs? But you believed it, and it was just such a great talent. And I don't think that, I mean, it was otherworldly. So I don't know if anybody's topping Mike.
The first time we had that conversation, I asked Bill, I said, was Mike the most famous person ever?
Yeah.
And like that's kind of where we came. Like we kind of were like, he might be.
Do you see this?
Oh wow. That was a huge what was that?
The Japanese Beatles.
I was gonna
wow.
say the Japanese Beatles had an opinion on Prince and Mike apparently. So.
He's like, hold on, that's probably Prince coming down. So
Right.
you're like,
exactly.
girl, what you mean? Yeah, no, was there somebody more famous? I don't know. You know, it's like, you know, I grew up in the 80s, so I watched the Michael Jackson phenomenon in real time, and it was just, he was doing shit that like people were not doing, like artists are not doing. Why are you in Russia running with the military? Like what? You know what I'm saying? It's just, everybody knew Michael Jackson.
Yeah. How I describe him as a once in a species artist. Like there's humans and there's a lot of exceptional humans and maybe there are people as great, but nobody fits all of those dynamics. Him and Prince were, because they get mentioned in the same breath.
Definitely. Of course.
Yeah. So thank you for indulging Jordan in his variation of one of his favorite questions.
That is one of my
that's a
favorites
hard
for sure.
choice. I can't choose, but yeah.
Could I ask you a little bit more about developing your sound, right? Because you're a part of a duo. I think if I remember correctly, you all met a little bit later in the teenage years, right around or after high school, if I'm remembering correctly.
Yeah, we met at prom, my high school prom.
Very cool. Very cool. So I'd love to know, you know, because I encounter, you know, I poke around in music communities trying to make my own little music here and there. But from an artist such as yourself, accomplished, developed your own sound, worked collaboratively with people, and had like a main partner. What are some of those early sessions like when you're figuring out, hey, this person I know I can actually work with, make something special with, and I want to keep working with them? Talk to me a little bit about how that chemistry, that bond, friendship, and also just like general partnership from a business sense, because you mentioned the music like business side of it. Tell me how that formed and tell me like what was so special about that to keep trudging forward.
Yeah, I mean, it was really organic at first. You know, like I said, we met at prom and we were just, you know, friends in a group of friends. And then when it came around that we both discovered that we were both making music in some capacity separately. And then it was just really, you know, kind of easy, like, oh, let's work on something. And I remember the first song that we wrote and created, and when it was finished, his dad at that time, he had been around, we were working in his studio, and his dad was like, you guys got something going on, you know? So I think that was really all we needed, was to see that we could complete something. And it didn't sound like anything that we had heard. It sounded a little bit like this, but then it was very different. And we just kept making stuff, and it just kept progressing. And I think the more that we heard no, it just kind of fueled the fire a little bit more, you know, because we would send our music to people that we knew and trusted, and they didn't get it and they didn't like it, and they would tell us that it wasn't good. And that was kind of the fuel. We were like, okay, we must be onto something, you know, because it didn't sound like anything else. So yeah, I think that was also difficult for the industry to wrap their minds around too. Because it's like, okay, we were building a fan base and doing all of these amazing things on our own. And, you know, the industry wanted to be involved with it, but they just didn't know how to box it in. Because everything in the world has to be boxed in for some reason. So if something isn't packaged in the way that, you know, your typical brain can understand, then people are afraid of it. And I think that's always been what we go for, which is funny enough. It's like, okay, if everybody is doing this and understanding this, then we'll go and do that. And, you know, it has inspired, you know, whole generations. So it was obviously on the mark, probably just not in the right time, you know?
Yeah. The thing I find most interesting about your music, and you just touched on it, is how many different sounds there are. Like, even reading up about you, I was, you know, all the different articles, there's like 8 to 10 different categories that your music gets put under. you clearly like have a unique ear for sound. I even saw the other day like Ozzy Osbourne just passed away, and you posted something on Instagram about him and how legendary he was. How did you develop that interest in different sounds and, you know, kind of flavors of music? Like a lot of people don't dip their toes in that many waters, but you've been able to do that in a way and really thrive in it.
Yeah, I think music is, I mean, it's just somebody's self-expression, right? So I think we have so many shared similarities that you can find something redeeming in just about any musical composition, I would like to think. But I think the basis of it was definitely what I found around the house. You know, my parents' record collection and their CD collection. And I was a gamer as a young kid. Like, you know, in middle school, I would just spend my time in the summers playing Super Mario and Sonic the Hedgehog. So I would just throw on CDs and just play games. And so it was everything from, you know, from jazz to Stevie Wonder to Led Zeppelin to, you know, Anita Baker to Prince to Black Sabbath. So I just had that all, you know, around. And yeah, just life experiences, meeting different people, going to college. I really got exposed to a lot of different types of music. Living in New York, you know, it's just researching. I would read a lot of autobiographies also. So reading music autobiographies and then getting the references from there and then actually, you know, diving into the music. I think it's just being a fan of music, period. Yeah, Ozzy, that was rough.
Sure.
But I love that he lived as long as he did, and you know.
Yeah, lost him. We lost him and Malcolm Jamal Warner this week.
That was hard.
Yeah, that was tough. That was really tough. I've been watching. A big part of my childhood was watching the Cosby Show with my father, and so I've been watching a lot of the old clips of Theo and Malcolm Jamal on the Cosby Show. And yeah, it's you know, terrible, tragic accident. Like you said, Ozzy was a little bit older, but yeah, it was those were two big losses.
Yeah, and you know, I think that the influence is still there. You hear a little bit of it, and that's, you know, that's the point. You want to create things that are going to stand the test of time. So, you know, now it's time for somebody to come in and carry it on, right?
Did you ever bump shoulders with Ozzy at all?
No, actually. No, I didn't. I think I might have met him one time. I used to work on a television talk show and like met a lot of celebrities through that. So I might have met him in passing there, but no, never. But he was definitely, I loved all the music, of course, but I loved Black Sabbath visuals the most. I loved their visuals for being, you know, in the 70s. They were doing some really cool stuff. But yeah, he was still out there. He just did his farewell tour, and Iggy Pop is another one that's really big for me. I love Iggy Pop from the Stooges, and he's kind of like an originator of punk for me. And so he's still touring. So I do love that we still have our legends around and they're still active. I hope to do the same when I'm that age.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah. We'll see.
Well, given the success that you've experienced, right, I don't think that's off the table at all, really, right? Because creative spirits just want to make things, like you said.
Forever.
Even if it doesn't lead to monetary value or can't be quantified in one of those boxes you mentioned before that the industry tries to do, like there is something about creative people that they just want to. And
of course.
You not only wanted to, but you found a way to connect with so many other people who saw a little bit of themselves in what you do, which is pretty amazing. And actually, on the topic of kind of a large swath of influences, you mentioned you were a gamer, which is something I did not know. But that's like near and dear to my heart. You mentioned
now,
Sonic.
let me clarify. I'm not like a new school gamer because the games now are so complex.
Oh, yeah.
So
I'm
no, I can't handle that. But if you give me some old school Nintendo or a Genesis, Sega Genesis, then I know what's going on.
I was actually going to stay in that realm
Yeah.
because I wanted to tie it a little bit back to music. Was there a maybe video game song or soundtrack that was one of your favorites growing up? Because
Sonic the
such an
Hedgehog.
important. Okay. Yeah.
Yes. Okay, and I can never remember the artist's name, but all of the music was from this Japanese like jazz artist. And you can get the songs, you know, he released them as an album, but that music, I would definitely freestyle to that music and play games for sure.
Interesting.
It's
Very
the only
interesting.
way.
Yeah.
I've never heard somebody say that they freestyle to video game music. Like, that's cool.
I feel like that's a lot of musicians, honestly.
Interesting.
Yeah.
Okay.
That's probably the first mixtape for a lot of us.
Okay. Bill raps a little bit, and we've talked about freestyles and like what makes a good beat for freestyling and stuff like that. I tried rapping when we got drunk a couple times in college, and it wasn't for me. But you know, I appreciate the art of freestyling, so that's cool.
Freestyling is hard, and I'm a rapper, and I started off as a rapper before I was a singer. I'm a great writer. I can write really great raps. Freestyling is just a different skill that I do not have. And so I definitely admire that in others.
Yeah.
It's difficult.
Absolutely.
And crafty. You have to be quick and crafty.
Yep.
And
you have to be quick on your feet, all that.
Yeah, I like to be methodical and think it out. Like, you can't do that in the battle.
Sure. Go ahead, Bill. My bad.
Yeah. I was just going to say, and on top of that, Jack, you mentioned that you were like a voracious reader when you were younger, right? Or actually still to this day, right? So
yeah,
it's like there's all these references that you can pull as well, because as a creative, you're supposed to take from everything that you see. Like, life is a bunch of sensorial experiences. So I bet you're a lot better at freestyling than you're probably letting on. So if and when we get back out to California and we find a way to cross paths, we will have a little bit of a cipher. It's going to be one of my dreams.
Okay, that would be interesting. But I'm up for a challenge, so we'll just let it flow.
We don't have to battle. We don't have to do anything. We don't have to put money on it or nothing. We can just.
Okay, yeah. Well then, I can come up with some stuff. Yeah, for
there
sure.
You go.
Yeah, of course. Come on. It's about the community aspect of the music. Come on.
Exactly.
I'll just be a fly on the wall.
Yeah,
Jordan will
problem.
eventually rap a couple of bars because it is obligatory. If you're standing in the circle, you
have to say one rhyme, just one line that rhymes.
We get at least 2 bottles of wine deep, and I'll bust out a couple. But
yeah, you kind of need some wine to really let it flow. So you're not thinking I guess you're not supposed to think as hard. I'd be thinking too hard.
Yeah, no, I think maybe that's my problem. I don't know. I'm gifted at a lot of things, but music is not like my strong suit. I'm great at talking about music. I enjoy listening to it, but I am not a musician by any means.
The awareness we appreciate.
That's right. I have a kind of a random question, but one thing the three of us all have in common is that we all went to small liberal arts colleges.
Oh, okay. Where did you guys go?
So Bill and I went to a school called the College of Worcester in Worcester, Ohio.
Oh, wow.
So I'm from Cleveland. So Worcester was relatively close. It was like an hour south of Cleveland. And Bill, what was it? Probably 8-hour drive for you from Chicago.
Okay.
Yeah, about 6. Yeah.
Yeah. But I'm just curious. Like, I know for me that experience was one of the most unique, but one of the best experiences of my life.
Oh, yeah.
I'm curious what that experience was like for you.
I loved it.
You went to Sarah Lawrence in New York, right?
I went to Sarah Lawrence, good old Sarah Lawrence College. Okay. I loved it. I really did. It was very open and artsy, but still very academic. And I met some amazing people. I took some amazing classes. And I was close to New York City, so that was a great selling point for me. I loved it. I felt like that's where I really came into who I was. And we were actively working on music at that time. Like, Delo would send me beats on tape, I'm aging myself. He would he would send me beats on these tapes, and then I would write, and I would spend, however long writing until I would go back to LA for a break, and then we would record my whole break. So that's where we got like a big chunk of our music, is recording it during these college breaks.
Yeah.
So yeah, it was a fun time.
Yeah. Yeah. It was a cool experience for us. Like I said, I learned so much about myself. I had never went to school. So I went to a Catholic high school in Cleveland.
Okay, yeah.
And like, I just hadn't gone to school with kids that identified as artistic or eclectic or just like dared to be a little bit outside of the norm.
Yeah.
So for me, it was such an interesting experience and like changed the way I think about a lot of things in life. So I was curious if you had a similar experience.
Definitely. What did you guys study when you were there?
I was a communications major.
Okay.
I was an English major.
Okay. Nice.
Yeah.
Yeah, I studied
So a
literature
little.
Okay.
and film. I wanted to be a cinematographer, so that was kind of what I was,
Okay.
I thought I was going to make movies and make music videos. And
Yeah. So
yeah.
I studied a lot of film. I did a lot of like documentary. Like I studied a lot of documentary stuff, and
same.
like I took some black. Like I took a class just on like Spike Lee films
I
and
love
stuff like that.
that.
Like I took a lot of interesting classes in college.
Yeah. Oh, that's
It was
cool.
cool.
Yay, small colleges. I needed something small. I needed the attention. If I would have gone to a big school where it was big lectures, I never would have graduated on time. So, yeah, I loved it.
And now you write songs for TV shows.
Yeah.
Is that what you do for the most part now?
Yeah. So I still write for myself. I feel like I'm always writing and
Yeah.
recording stuff that could possibly be for myself or for whoever. Every couple of months, I'm like, I'm going to put out a project, and then then you move on, and that's the cycle of an artist. But yeah, so I've been writing a lot for TV promo spots, a lot of like stuff it's music that you don't even realize that you're hearing, but it's there, so it's like, throws to commercial and during sports broadcasts and yeah, it's a different type of music making, but I would say that it's, of course, a little easier than having to write for myself or, write a full project. But it's challenging at the same time because you have to stay on a topic and appeal to a much broader audience. So yeah, I've been doing that and I love it. It's a lot of fun. It's a challenge. So yeah.
So that's super interesting from my perspective, who usually when I'm writing recreationally or whatever, I'm kind of writing for myself, right? You mentioned writing for a broad audience.
Yeah.
Talk to me a little bit about how you develop that skill, right? Because it's like music is something you've done for a while, but
Yeah.
it sounded like it was personal for a while.
Yeah.
But then you expand it to this audience who is as engaged, but they're engaged in a different way.
Yeah.
So
I mean, it's
I'd love to hear a
marketing.
little bit more about that.
Yeah, it's a different brain for sure. I think that for me, I think I've been in the industry for such a long time and making music for such a long time that you have to stay kind of immersed in all the different areas of music making because, unfortunately, being an artist is not very lucrative right now. And that's very sad. And it's not really encouraging to want to just be an artist because it's a lot of hard work for a little reward. So stepping into songwriting for me was, I want to actually work smarter and not necessarily harder. I was at an age where it was just like I've worked so hard for so long. So it was a great switch for me at a time that I just needed something different. So I feel like I learned a lot actually like on the job, we would go into these writing camps and it would be teams of us, there would be one producer and then two songwriters, we would both be songwriters and vocalists. But we all had different styles. And so putting us in these crash courses together where it's like, okay, you have a day, you have 12 hours, or you have 2 days to come up with as many songs as you can. They give you the guidelines. They tell you pretty much what the topic is. And as long as you can stay on topic and do something that's catchy, I mean, it really is, it's a great avenue to make money as a songwriter or as a musician, as a producer. So yeah, I was lucky to be a part of the songwriting camps and to churn out as many songs. I didn't know that I could write that many songs in that short of amount of time, But I learned a lot just doing it. And then, as you do one, it just kind of compacts and you're doing more and more and more. So, yeah, it was a learning experience. So I was grateful to learn something new in this industry at this time.
How did you
Thank you.
How did you master the art of songwriting? Like, I know you mentioned that you were in a group called DEF, I think it was called,
yeah.
Right? Did you start songwriting? And you were in that group when you were relatively young, right?
I was very young, yeah.
Is that when you started songwriting, or did it start even before that?
No, so I was always writing. When I was a kid, I read a lot of books. So I was always writing things, poems and stories, and coming up with my own little songs. But being in that group, DEF, shout out to DEF, doing everything funky.
Yes, that's what it was, yeah. Doing everything funky.
Oh my God, the 90s were just... it was
crazy.
A cheesiness that just cannot be replicated. It was such genuine cheese. I just miss it.
But it was beautiful at the same time.
It was a simpler time. It was beautiful.
Yes, yes.
But that experience is what taught me how to be a songwriter. We were children, so the label basically brought in a producer and songwriting team. So we had a team of people that were writing and demoing our songs for us. And I was just there, just watching and learning and soaking it all up, learning how to work in a studio, learning how to be in a group. Once again, learning on the job, you just kind of soak it all up. So at a certain point, I think by the time I was about 15 or 16 is when I really started digging into my own writing and my own voice. And of course, it took a while, to perfect that. I feel like even now I'm in a period where I'm like relearning my voice, relearning my style, and re-enhancing it. So yeah, being in that group taught me so much.
That's cool.
Yeah. It's a different time. The 90s are a great time to be signed to a major label. Time. It was beautiful.
And the groups were popping back then. Like, I think of some of the groups that were popping when I was growing up. The groups were popping back then.
It was just so much money, and like you didn't have to necessarily, like, we didn't put out an album. We were just basically in development for 6 years, and we still reaped a heavy benefit being in the, we had food budgets and car service budget. It's just like it was so much money spent into the development. So I'm grateful for that, because it definitely helped me in the next phase of my life, for sure.
That's very dope.
Man, yeah, the reps you get when you're not necessarily on stage, right? I think it was the Temptations when they signed for Motown. They didn't put out a song. They were singing backup vocals and doing choreography, I think, for 2 years. Before they were even considered, but by then you bang out all the impurities. So,
and you're ready to go.
Like you said, the 90s. The 90s.
It was
the
a
perfect amount
time.
of cheese. Who doesn't like cheese?
Who doesn't?
The 90s, the perfect amount of cheese. That's a great line.
And it was genuine. They didn't, like, it was so cheesy, and we knew it at the time, but nobody cared that it was cheesy. It was just like, we loved this shit. It was great.
Well, because we knew it wasn't going to end up on the internet. You know what I mean?
That's
like, we weren't worried about getting exposed for, like, growing up. You know what I mean?
True.
Like,
it's so true.
That's a great way to put it.
I know.
Right?
The poor young people.
These poor kids, like, every moment they have now, there's a chance that it's going to end up on Instagram and the whole world's going to see it,
I know.
So, we're 2 weeks past this Coldplay concert where these people's lives have been ruined.
Man,
like,
and
it's crazy.
What a random moment. It's just like that was the universe working overtime.
It's the universe. But in the 90s,
That
you would have been on the
never would've
screen.
happened.
It never would have happened.
Nobody would have.
Right? Like
Nobody
they
would
would
have
have.
known.
They would have got away with it, and maybe they shouldn't have been able to get away with it. But
That was the point.
It would have been a totally different scenario.
I know. Wow. What a moment. I mean, and that's where we are. The state of the industry right now is like everything has to be a moment. And so, we're just chasing moments. So it's not like we're really getting, I don't know if we're really getting a lot of true content anymore.
Mm-hmm.
Sure.
Yeah, because all moments are fleeting anyway, right?
Yeah.
It's like,
Yeah.
get back in the churn, make something happen again, which, as you've been alluding to, forces you to compromise your foundational talent. Well, man, the music isn't really jumping, so guess I got to go act a fool real quick.
Gotta act a fool on the internet.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
That's where we're at.
The old tried and true formula,
Yeah.
That's right.
Yeah, I guess 20 years ago it was sex tapes. Remember, everybody had a sex tape, and that's how you you want to blow
we
up.
know one family very well.
Oh,
Yeah,
man.
we got very famous.
Look at what that has done. But I mean, people see that, like, look at the success of that, and then it just spirals into, let me blow up my whole entire life for that chance.
But then think about how many branches have come off of that tree of that one sex tape. Like it's crazy. Bill, I'll let you get us into our song picks for the week, and we can wrap up. So she can. I know you got a DJ tonight.
Yay, I do. Yeah, I'm excited. It's been a minute.
Okay. Yeah, let's put the finishing touches on this. Jack, up to this point, thank you so much for the time and the perseverance through the technical difficulties. Really appreciate it.
Thank you. I appreciate it. Like, great conversation.
On that note, as we like to do when we have a special guest on this, our segments of Song of the Week, my Song of the Week is going to be by J Davey, obviously. La La Land from the 2008 project, if I remember, The Land of the Lost.
Yep.
What I love about this record, it sounds like, for your sound, you mentioned earlier in the conversation, like, it's a different type of music. It's a little more atmospheric is the word I described, like open and spacious.
Yeah.
This song is like the most rugged, agitated version of that. It sounds like watching a lava lamp while a thunderstorm's going in the background. Ooh. It's colorful, it's vibrant, it's full, but it's just mellow enough where your heartbeat doesn't actually hit the tipping point of like kicking you into a higher gear. Yeah. And that like ruggedness, just like it feels like you're kind of getting combed over with just like sonic texture. And that is so cool. It's so atmospheric. And that to me is when I heard that song, we were doing our listen throughs, and I was like, oh yeah, this is the one. Like this.
It knocks.
This is me. Yeah.
It definitely has that edge. And we're all about edge. That's a big thing for us.
Yes,
Thank
definitely.
you.
So what I'll say to close that out is thank you for making that song, because that one means a lot to me. So that's my song of the week, La La Land.
Thank you for listening.
That's a fun one, Bill. Yeah. So for my song of the week, I've learned that if I try to describe music as well as Bill, I'm gonna fail. Like the lava lamp reference, like I just don't have that in my bag. But my song of the week is "Rock That Ship" off of the new Designer Drug album, and it makes me want to party. Like it makes me want to go out tonight. I went to a DJ set not too long ago by Black Coffee. Yeah, and it took me back to that type of space. It's got that same type of energy. That whole album has like this kind of, again, your sound is so. What I think is the coolest about your sound is you can't say J Davey sounds like this and compare you to another artist. Like your sound is your sound, and there's nothing else like it. But it gives me the kind of fist pumping vibes, but it also is mellow at the same time. Like it's just that's a fun song. There you go. That's a good word for it. It's atmospheric. And so Rock That Ship off of I think that project came out in 2015 off of New Designer Drug. It just makes me want to dance. And so that's my song of the week.
That song actually is co-produced by Dave Siddick from TV on the Radio. So that's one of my favorites. And that was such a great experience working with him because I was always such a big fan of theirs. So
okay.
Yay.
Nice. Nice.
Does my song have to be a J Davey song?
No,
it does not.
No. You get the whole world's music catalog.
Oh, that's fun. Well, I've been listening to a lot of dancehall, classic dancehall and dub recently, and I've been fixated on Barrington Levy. And just listening to his catalog and realizing how there's a ton of current hip hop and rap that references his style a lot. And so I've been listening to his song. It's called Murderer. And I can't remember what album it's on, but just his whole catalog is just really cool. And he's another legend that we still have in our midst and that the kids are obviously tapped into, because I heard that Travis Scott album recently and he took Here I Come, like, the same riff from Here I Come. So, I've been in my little dance hall bag. I guess it's summertime vibes.
Yeah, that's a good pick.
Yeah.
That's different than I think almost any of the songs we've picked so far on our playlist, Bill. I'll
which
share
is the point.
Exactly.
Yeah.
I'll share the playlist with you when I get a chance. But it's that's cool. That's a good pick. I like that a lot.
I love that. Thank you.
Yeah, for sure. Bill, do you have any other questions before we get out of here? I know. J Davey's got some other things to do tonight.
No questions, Jack. It's been, I guess I'll just say my closing graces before passing it off to Jordan. It's been such a pleasure talking to you and meeting you. Thank you for the openness, the honesty, the transparency, and just the positive energy. It's always great to connect with somebody, not just, creative, but accomplished and worldly and has so many different dynamics. So thank you for the graciousness. Thank you for your time. And I hope we get a chance to cross paths again soon. Yeah, thank you so much. I appreciate it.
Yeah, and same thing for me. Like, thank you so much for doing this with us. This came off of us posting a video on Instagram that you liked and kind of commented on, and so we appreciate that how accessible you were and open to doing this and scheduling this with us. It means a ton to us, and we're fans of the music, so it's always cool to get to sit down and talk to somebody whose work you really admire. So this has been really cool.
No, I appreciate that. And like I said, thank you for listening, because without our listeners, there would be no point. So always appreciative. And thanks for the chat.
Of course. And we're coming to LA and we're gonna get a freestyle and we're gonna come to a DJ set for sure.
Yeah. Let's start with the DJ set first and we can work our way up to the freestyle.
Awesome. Yeah. All right. Well,
thanks, guys.
Yes. On that note, this has been Song of the Week. Until next time, thank you everybody for tuning in. We're out of here. Peace.